intentional about the things you do. Be intentional about the things you say. Be intentional about your thoughts and plans. Be intentional about everything in life.
What should I not say to someone who is grieving a loss of a loved one? Hello viewers, Be Intentional is here. This is Be Intentional with Chesca. Well, I must say, I'm still fighting for language, especially on this particular topic I'm going to discuss today, on the topic of the what not to say. It's the first topic, and the reason why I'm fighting for language is because of the God factor in it. And I'll urge you to declutter your mind, keep an open mind. Let's get rolling, and whatever you do, just bear with me, and let's get going into this. Most often than not, when people are grieving, we go to support them, and we hear or we say some cliches like, God is in control. Okay. God knows best and he does what he wants to do. You may be right. I don't know about that. Maybe God is teaching you something. These are things you hear people say. Maybe God is trying to teach you something. Hello? He is God. He doesn't need to try. He doesn't need to try anything. He's God. If he wants to teach me something, he will teach me something. And he can teach me something. He doesn't need to try teaching me anything by hurting me, by making me go through a pain, by me losing a child I carried, by losing a gift he has given through miscarriage, by losing a husband, a soulmate, a wife, mother of my children, father of my children, losing my mother, losing my father, losing my grandparents. God doesn't need to try to teach me anything by taking those people away. That is, if he took them away. Some of the things we say is, God will use this somehow for good. Oh yes, he can. Oh yes, he will. He can. But I need you to understand that just because God can use a tragedy, or you ever witnessed how God was able to use a tragedy for a good cause, doesn't make him the author of the tragedy, or the one who orchestrated it. And the thing is, that's probably not what you're trying to say, that he created the tragedy. But what happens is when you go around telling people these things, in the midst of the grief, that's how it comes across, that God will use this for good. So he sat down and allowed it to happen so that he can use it for good. So he can try to teach me a lesson I'm probably not getting. Sweetheart, you can't say that. And sometimes some of the things we say is, it's all part of God's plan. It is God's will. He's the one who gave and he's taking it away. Hey y'all, you cannot say that. You cannot in a million years go supporting people who are grieving and be saying things like that. Do you think they don't know what God's plans are? You just cannot assume that just because it happened, it is God's will. Not everything that happens on earth is God's will. Not everything that happens even in a Christian's life, even in pastors' lives, not everything that happens is God's will. So please, and please again, don't go saying things like this. I have been trying, before I came up with this, I was trying to find the root of these cliches, where they came from. How did somebody just got up and thought saying things like that to somebody who is grieving makes you spiritual or makes you the one who is telling the truth. And honestly, sometimes I feel so sorry for these pastors or men of God who find themselves in the position of having to officiate somebody's burial or speak to the bereaved family. Because I feel that they are put in a position where they are forced to give answers. They are forced to tell you what God's mind is in the situation. And I find it very funny and interesting when that person has not ever lost a loved one. I'm not talking about lost an uncle, lost an auntie, and say, oh, I've seen dead. I'm talking about when it's far from you, it's easier to say all sorts. But when it's close to home, and then this is the position we put them. Because if that man of God comes to you and doesn't say anything about God, you're going to think the person is not spiritual enough. You want them to give you answers. And unfortunately, when you are grieving, anything that you hear, however ridiculous it sounds, becomes the truth to you. And so with time, we've come to accept these things as the truth. But on Be Intentional, I want to encourage you to stay clear of these unbiblical statements with emphasis on unbiblical. Please do not say them. I know you're trying to comfort a friend. I know you're trying to comfort a loved one. I appreciate the fact that you're actually trying to find a silver lining here. But hey, you don't need a quick home run cliche to solve people's griefs problem. You don't. So please, 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 I beg, stay clear of these unbiblical statements. The fact that you said God is in control, the fact that you said it's all part of God's will, the fact that you say God is God and He chooses to do what He wants to do, doesn't make you any more spiritual than you probably would be. And sometimes we, by we I mean we church folks, we do not do well at all with the interpretation of the role of God in times like these situations, when we're finding ways to comfort people. We don't. You are so right that God knows best. Oh yeah, He knows. You are so right that God is in control. But all I'm saying this day to you is that statements like these in times of grief fall into the really bad timing category. You are right, but you don't go saying it when the people are grieving. And it's quite frankly irrelevant at the moment. It is irrelevant. I tell you what, in that moment of grief, all the person needs is a Jesus that weeps with him or her. A Jesus who knows my sorrow because He carried His own. Maybe they are true that He knows the best, but somehow in the midst of the grieving, the person only wants a God who is close and imminent and feels their hurt. What is a big God in control of everything? A big God in control of the whole universe, yet a loved one died. And some of them died in the midst of even service for this God. Some of them have lost their lives when they were on missions. In the midst of serving God, people have lost their lives. In the midst of going about His business, some have lost their lives. In the midst of working out some distant good, some have lost their, and they were doing it all for this God. And there you go telling them God is in control, it's part of His plans, it's all His will. No, you can't say that. Lovely people, you cannot say that, because at the end of the day, what happens is, I don't know, I'm passionate about this God factor, because what happens is that the hurting person who hears these words is only left, when all is said and done, is only left to recover from their false hope of God allowing it to happen. when all the phone calls have died out, when all the sympathizers have gone, when you now face the reality of that person is normal, the reality of wanting answers, the reality of asking God why, where did it all go wrong? And all the answers you get, all the answers you can remember is how people told you that it was part of his plan. At the end of the day, they are left on their own to recover from that falsehood, that God allowed it to happen. What I'm about to say, may not sound as cut and dry as it is. So please bear with me. But this is what I'm going to say. God, he is not in business partnership with the devil. I might as well repeat myself. God is not in business partnership with the devil. He's not a business partner with the devil. So the devil doesn't go to God to ask permission like it happened in the days of Job. The devil doesn't go to God to bring wahala your way. The devil doesn't go to God to ask permission to hurt you, permission to bring pain to you by taking a loved one away. And then God says, I allow it. Devil, go ahead, because I have faith in my daughter. I have faith in my son. No. That looks like a business partnership to me. Because you come and ask permission, and I say, go ahead. That looks like we're working hand in hand. But no. God doesn't do that. Not in our dispensation. Not in this era. It is definitely not God. And I say it without apology. It is not God. And it is no more the case in our dispensation. Somebody might be asking, how do you know this? Well, I'm going to tell you in a minute. I know this because the Bible says, that same Bible you are reading, I am reading, that same Bible where that same God that you believe in, that makes you think that you know him that much to know that everything that happens on earth is his will. That same God said in the Bible that all good and perfect things comes from God. So all good and perfect things, for me, doesn't include that person who was out on missions and lost their life in that era. It doesn't include that mother that's carrying the child and lost the child along the line. That is not a good thing. That is not a perfect thing. But that is his plans. He says again that I know the plans I have for you. They are plans of good and not evil. That is in the scripture. There is even a scripture, let me try, and there is a scripture that says, God does not tempt us with evil. So where did we get this from? Let me think of some of the faith talks we usually say and some of the cliches that, this other one, there is a reason for everything. She did what she came here to do on earth, and it was her time to go. Sometimes we say that to people, oh, that person you lost was such a good person. And I tell you, God wanted her to be with him. Huh? Who made you a spokesperson for God? Who made you a spokesperson for him? Who told you that what the person came here on earth to do, that 1 day, that 2 days, that 30 days, that 70 days, the time was up. That 70 years, the time was up for the person to go. Who told you that God wanted her to be with him? No. And again, I say no. Hello, you lovely people and lovely viewers watching me right now. Please hear this. God is not in total control of everything that happens in this world. God is not. God is not in total control of everything that happens in our lives. You are a parent. You may be a parent out there. Are you in control? Yes, you are. Are you in control of your family? Yes, you are. Are you sure you know everything going on with your children? I mean, every single minute of their lives. You are in control. You might know what's going on with them, but you don't have control over everything that they do. So God is not in control, total control of everything that happens in this world. And they don't happen, hear me please, they don't happen because He allowed it. Oh, I'm so passionate about this He allowed it bit. It doesn't happen because He allowed it to happen. So why? Why do they happen? It's pretty simple to me. We live in a falling world. We live in a falling world. A lot happens. A lot of factors are in control of things. God is not in sole and total control of everything that happens in our lives. Between God and even the devil factor, we've got the nature factor. We've got human factors. We've got the demon factors, the devil factor. We've got the God factor as well. But why do we want to put everything down to the God factor? What am I trying to say? All I'm saying to us sympathizers is that things happen. I'm also saying it to people who are grieving. Things happen because we live in a falling world. So having said that, these are things I've said so many times to people, and I feel so guilty. And I'm sure you out there watching me have equally said it many times. So think about it. And just think of how you can move on from making God the sole responsibility, or the one who the one who orchestrated the tragedy. So what should I say then? What should I do? Personally, I'm a believer, and I believe in God. I cannot talk to somebody, I cannot encourage somebody without bringing a God factor in. It can't happen. It's not possible because I believe in Him. But now that I cannot go around saying these things, what should I say? Well, for starters, a simple "I'm sorry for your loss" suffices. It's enough. I am sorry for your loss. In these days of technology, phone calls, text messages, sometimes you genuinely have to say to the person, I don't know what you're going through. I don't know what to say. It's so genuine when you say that. I don't know what to say, but I just want you to know I'm here for you. Just give me a shout whenever you need me. I just want you to know I want to be here for you. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say almost goes to tell the person. Because at that moment, the person, everything happening around that person in the midst of grief, the person is gobsmacked. The person is lost of words. The person is dumbfounded with the tragedy. So it's nice to know that somebody else, somehow, somewhere, is a little bit feeling the way I'm feeling because I'm lost of words. Somebody else is also lost of words. It's a nice feeling to know you are not the only one who cannot find words. So yes, you don't have to say anything by all means. I am sorry for your loss suffices. I don't know what to say, but I just want you to know I'm here for you. Anytime. I just want you to know that I want to stand by you. You still want to talk about God? Well, let's see what we can say. You can just remind that person that God's heart breaks with them. And God doesn't want him or her to have the pain. The Bible makes us understand that God Himself mourns with those who mourn. And hey, death is still the enemy, not God. Because I can honestly tell you, this God factor has actually resulted in some people losing faith. Some people losing hope in this God because they can't bring their head around a good God in total control of everything, allowing this to happen because that's what we've said to them. So let the person know I'm sorry for your loss. God is not the enemy. Death is still the enemy. And I'm sorry you met it now. You can say something like, no one can ever replace him or her. And I pray the Lord strengthens you. I pray you find comfort in these times and go through it. Don't say that God needed him or her. I don't know where we get to. We get to feel we have a right to say things like that. We don't. Only God knows. You don't. You cannot know. Even if he reveals it to you, which I'll talk about that in one of our episodes. You don't go saying things like that. But whatever you say, whatever you do, please and please and please refrain from trying to explain the laws. I would urge you, do not water down the mystery of death with unhealthy explanations. Because at the end of the day, remember, you meant well. However, the timing was wrong and irrelevant for such talks. And all you have done is, like I said earlier on, is you've left the hurting person who hears these words to recover from their false hope of God allowing it to happen. Thank you once again for watching. Let's get conversational. Share your views. Let this video go as far as you can send it to help somebody be a little more readily and intentional in supporting that grieving person around them. Spread the warmth and get the truth out. God is not in total control of everything. God is not the one orchestrating these tragedies. You are so loved, and I hope you know that I love you. Stay tuned for a continuation of grief and what not to say. That moment where people spell it out. Oh, I know how you feel. My mom died when she was 60. My mom died when she was 80. Oh, I know how you feel. You know what? Look on the brighter side. It could have been worse. Even your situation is better. At least he grew old. At least she grew old. At least this. There is nothing least about a loss. Sorry for your loss, but you should hear what happened to a friend. These are things people go around saying. These are things we've all been guilty of saying. But the question is, are we in some kind of heartache competition? Let's find that out. I love you. Stay tuned. I'll be right back. Mwah.
Be intentional about every